Hey there, good morning everyone. Hey, I just wanted to share with you a few thoughts, what's been going through my mind here this past couple weeks. I really was convicted by God to kind of get on here this morning and just kind of speak this out. And really what it comes down to is when I first came to start the crosses, the faith over fear thing here in this area, I really had to ask myself, well, what is that faith that I'm asking people to grasp onto? And really what it comes down to is Romans 3:23 says we have all fallen short of the glory of God, right? We have all fallen short of his glorious standard. All of us. Not one of us has escaped that. All right? And that doesn't mean in the past. That means ongoing. We have all fallen short of the glory of God. And so with that in mind, the fact is we haven't all fallen short of the grace of God, right? He hands us a free gift of grace. And so that faith is about the fact that he's given us something that we didn't even earn. He's given us something that we could never earn. And so with that starting point, I just want to address something that's really been on my mind, and it's this George Floyd controversy, as it will. And so just full disclosure, I have 5 black children. My wife and I adopted 5 black children. And so this has really hit close to home because not only am I hearing things from one side of the fence, I'm hearing it from the other side of the fence. I'm hearing all kinds of horrible things being said. And I just want to break my silence really and just speak what goes through my mind. And this is really what it comes down to. We can make the argument that George Floyd was a criminal. We could make the argument that, he deserved to be locked up. But I don't believe that anybody can make the argument that he deserved to die. And here's the reality is, you might be one of those that looked at the situation and went, well, I guess, he shouldn't have defied police. That's what you get. And I want to stop you right there, and I want to challenge you that that's not how Jesus would have seen this. Jesus would have seen this with compassion. Jesus would have looked at this and had compassion on this man, and we're called to no less. And so instead of trying to vilify these, this man, and vilify anybody that is taking this situation and running with it, I want you to stop, and I want you to try to feel some compassion for this fellow human being. That's where this has to start. And the other part of it too, and I think it's so crucial is, if we ask ourselves, what would Jesus be thinking? What would Jesus be saying if he was sitting there witnessing this happen? And we get a great glimpse of that in John 8, when he deals with the adulterous woman. He challenged the crowd. Whoever has never sinned, or whoever doesn't still sin, go ahead and cast the first stone. If you've never had a sinful thought, cast the first stone. Nobody did it. Here's the deal, and something that I think is often overlooked. Jesus was the only one in that crowd that had every right to do it. He was sinless. He could have picked that stone up, and he didn't. He had compassion for that woman. And Lord knows that his heart doesn't change. He would have had compassion for this man. And so I challenge you to start there. No matter what you think of the riots and the looting and even the protests, start with compassion, because here's the deal, folks. And here's something that a lot of us miss, and something that I really feel like it's important for you to grasp onto this morning. This anger, the anger that's driving people to burn things and to break things and to hurt people. Look, you don't have to agree with the fact what they're doing. You don't have to agree with the looting and the burning and all that. But I challenge you to have empathy for their anger. That as a race, they have suffered for so long being looked at differently, and racism is so real, folks. I'm sorry to tell you, if you're living in a world where you think that racism isn't real, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're very wrong. It's a very real thing. And I just ask you, just for the time being, for this second, just to really think about how you would feel if you had to live the life of a black man, being able to walk down the street, not being able to walk down the street and have people looking at you differently, or in a store where people are constantly keeping their eyes on you thinking you're going to steal something, I just challenge you to ask yourself, how would you feel if you watched a video where someone was clearly killed and didn't deserve to die? That there's no justification for George Floyd's murder. There isn't, and you have to search your heart for that. But I do encourage you to really start to have some empathy. Really think about what that feels like to have, to live through this life, being looked at differently, and then not only watch what the police, the people that are called to protect you, are doing, but to be able to look at what the other people are saying about it. That they're not even treating this person as a man; they're treating him as somebody that deserved to die. Look, we have to do some soul searching. I personally have had to do soul searching in my life, and I just challenge you, as believers, we don't just believe that Jesus Christ gives us grace, right? The faith over fear thing isn't just for us. The faith over fear, the whole reason for putting the cross out in our yard, we could put the cross in our living room, but we put it out in our yard. Why? Because we want to spread the idea that God's grace is sufficient for everyone. For everyone. All they have to do is accept it. And we have to start living like that. Please, before you make any more Facebook posts or comments that, are taking away from the pain that the black community is feeling, please ask yourself some really tough heart questions. Ask yourself, what are you really putting Jesus in this? Or are you putting Jesus to the side? Are you taking Jesus out of this equation? I know that's tough. I know there's tough words, and I know that this is probably going to drive some people away, but I'm prepared for that. I think that it's so important that we embrace what God gave us in His Son. We have to embrace the fact that He came and died for us so that we can have compassion on our fellow man. Let's start doing that. If we can start there, we can start having conversations. We can heal this racial divide. We just have to start having the compassion. I challenge you again, really ask yourself some tough heart questions and find out, where is your heart? Ask yourself in these situations, am I asking myself what Jesus would think of this, or am I going with myself? And the final thing that I have to say is this. I think in this world today, it's not just the George Floyd thing, right? We're dealing with all kinds of things. And I just want you to ask yourself, Jesus himself said that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right? And I wonder, have we made Jesus out to be the one that kills, steals, and destroys, right? That's a tough question. But the reality is the enemy loves to twist our mind. He loves to make us think that what we're doing and what we're saying and what we're standing up for is what Jesus would stand up for. But nowhere in Scripture did Jesus ever look at somebody without compassion. Even the Pharisees, he said a lot of tough words about the Pharisees, right? But if you really read into Scripture, he had compassion on them. That's why he told the stories to them. He wanted to convict them. He wanted them to think differently. If you just go to the parable of the prodigal son, that was completely told to change the heart of not anybody else but the Pharisees, right? That was told to the Pharisees to hopefully change their hearts, to help them see. I think Jesus really gave us a great platform, a great starting point for this, what we're dealing with right now in this day and age. So I won't bother you anymore. I know that I might have made a few of you angry, and I'm okay with that. I really truly believe that God has told me that I needed to share this with you this morning, and I really truly believe that that we all have to look inside of our heart and really examine what's going on in here. So I challenge you to do that today, and I may God bless you and your family. And Lord, I I just speak to you, and I guess in a prayer mentality for everybody watching this. Lord, heal our land, heal our hearts, help us to look with compassion. Father, we come to you right now, open arms. We just ask you into this situation. All right, everybody, you take care. Have a great day. Love you.